Welcome to this RapidRep tutorial. Within the next 12 minutes we will see the most important functions of the Test Runner application. We are using the Test Runner application in order to automatically execute and evaluate test cases. The test cases are not stored in RapidRep, but they are retrieved from a connected test management system. RapidRep therefore supports the connection to a variety of test and defect management systems. As with any other RapidRep application, we need to log on to a repository using our username and password first, and after a couple of seconds we will see the GUI of the Test Runner application. In the first dialog we are asked to select a project that we would like to connect to. Here we see a list of different projects already defined here. If we do not know which project we are interested in, we can press the Manage Connections button below, and hopefully we can find good description in this list. In this dialog we can also create new connections, for example to HP Quality Center, to IBM Rational Quality Manager, to Team Foundation Server, or to the RapidRep Quality Master, to Mantis or JIRA. We don't do this now. Then we fill in the username and password, which needs to be the same as in the underlying system, and then we connect using the Log On button. Now we can see the full GUI of the Test Runner application. In the left hand side in the navigation area we can see a tree where the test cases are organized. This tree is very similar to what you can see in the underlying test management system. For example, there will be a folder called RapidRep Demo as well, and if we select this folder we can see a list of test cases in the test list area on the right hand side. Now we would like to configure and parameterize a test case in order to automatically execute and evaluate the test case. Therefore we have to select the test case first in the test case list, and then we go to the lower part of this screen and switch to the tab called Test Steps. Here we tell RapidRep where the logic is stored that RapidRep needs to execute and evaluate the selected test case. RapidRep has the concept of a test implementation, which is part of a so-called report definition. Report definitions are created using the RapidRep Designer application, which is the integrated development environment. Now we want to assign the evaluation logic to this test case. We go to the report definition column and choose the report definition sample currency test and select a version. Here we find a list of all the versions that are released. The carré operator indicates the highest version available in the repository. In the column test implementation we find all the test implementations in that specific report definition. Here we choose the implementation called is complete, and we save via the Apply Changes button. Normally there are a couple of parameters that are needed to run and evaluate a test case. In this case we have two parameters. There might be already some default values, as is the case with this parameter, or we have to fill in a value, for example for the as of date parameter, the date where we would like to see if the currencies have been delivered completely. Here we choose the 14th of January and save the changes. Now we repeat that process for another test case. We go to the test case list and we choose the test case currency plausibility test. The test case logic again is configured in the test steps area. Here we choose the test case implementation is plausible. and this implementation requires different parameters which I have already assigned a value before. We can also select multiple test cases in the list, and then we can see an overview of the different parameters and their values. We have now configured the first two test cases and they are now ready for execution. We want to demonstrate this using the first test case. We open the context menu and from there we choose the action called execute. Since the test implementation requires the connection to a data warehouse, we are asked to authenticate first. And now RapidRep performs the calculation and opens the Excel workbook. The workbook not only contains the test case result, but also many other detailed information and parameters that are needed to reproduce the test case. The error message now is that there is one currency missing, and to see what currency this is, we can go to the details sheet, and here we see that the US dollar is missing for the 14th of January 2013. We can then close the workbook, and now we can see that the line is marked red, indicating that there has been an error. We can also execute multiple test cases at once. We simply select the corresponding checkboxes in the test case list, and we also do not want that the Excel workbooks open after the evaluation, and now we again choose execute in the context menu. Now we are not asked again for the authentication, and again we see the result is failed for the first test case and the second test case is passed. The column called success indicator is configured such that it extracts the information from the success indicator in the Excel workbook, and this information is then mapped to the corresponding field in the defect management system. We may also change values for other columns like the priority or severity. Of course, these values are dependent also on the connected defect management system. We can also assign the defect also to a specific person. And now we can send that information, which is up to now only local to RapidRep, to the connected test and defect management system by pressing this action. And now you can see on the different icons in the status column that we have created a bug and a test log in the test project. Now we want to see how this all looks like in the underlying test management system. In this case, it's a project that is maintained in the HP Quality Center. If we go to the test lab, we will find a folder structure that is very similar to what we have seen in the navigation area of the test runner. In the execution grid for this test folder, we see the currency completeness test, which is failed, and if we double click on it, we can see the runs that have been executed already. If we click on the biro symbol, we also see that the whole workbook, which we have already seen, has been attached by RapidRep to this test case run. Now we go to the defect module. As we have created a new defect as well, we see that defect with the values that we have set manually, and we also see a summary title. This title is equal to the success indicator in the test runner, which originally comes from the Excel workbook. Now the status of the test case execution is up to date in HP Quality Center, and now we can close that window and go back to the test runner. Many of the operations that we have done manually in the test runner GUI can also be carried out by the batch interface of RapidRep. For example, to select test cases, to execute them, and to communicate the results with a test and defect management system. To demonstrate this, we select the first two test cases and we choose the Create Batch File operation in the context menu. We are asked for a storage location. By default, this is the export directory. How does this batch file look like? We go to the file directory and open the script file using our favorite text editor. In the lower part, we can see the commands that are sent to the testing CLI, which is the batch processor of RapidRep. And these two commands perform the execution of the test and the communication with HP Quality Center in this case. RapidRep has a very high security standard and it encrypts all the passwords that are needed for the RapidRep user and also for the underlying test and defect management systems. We are now at the end of our RapidRep tutorial on the test runner. If you need further information regarding the test runner itself or the configuration for the underlying test management and defect management systems, please have a look at the reference manuals which you can find in the help menu, or have a look at further YouTube videos on this channel. I wish you much success using the test runner application.